Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So it is the end of the week, Sunday, May the 14th, guys, and I got XRP up here on the weekly. Looking like the week is ending up in the negative. Luckily, we are only trading on low volume, so, not a lot of interest really in the crypto space. I mean, I gotta say, the narrative has been fairly negative generally, not just for XRP, but for the entire crypto space. Let's not forget, for the newbies, they have been through this. Okay, basically an entire year, more than a year, until we bottomed out here. 427 days since the top for XRP. If I were to take that and bring it up to roughly where we saw the top for Bitcoin in November of 2021, and bring that time period tool till today, that's 546 days of, essentially bearish activity. So this is the point. I feel like, this is the point where everybody gets really dejected and not terribly excited about crypto in general. Remember, guys, when XRP hit that high back in late December, early January 2018, we saw it go down for 798 days, all the way down here to the bottom. Again, this is on the weekly. And again, this was the beer flu. This was a black swan event. But it wasn't until this point here that we saw the trend reversing. So let's put that into perspective. Almost 800 days. And then, you take half of that time for a bull run for XRP to go from absolute bottom to this new high, about 400 days. So just to give you guys some perspective on that, Bitcoin, is also another one of these cryptocurrencies that on the weekly hasn't seen too much in terms of positive activity. Nevertheless, though, I wanted to bring this up from Tyler S. Crypto. For years, the MMI, or the Mega Move Indicator, has predicted massive moves for Bitcoin. And 2 days ago, the MMI fired big time. I don't say things are big often, but this time, guys, this is big. So he's just taking a look at this, a Mega Move Indicator. I've never heard of that. I don't know who made that one up. But as you guys can see, as soon as the trend crosses over that indicator, as soon as the candlesticks cross below that indicator, that is when we see a move to the upside. And you can see during the bull run, it's a little different. But when we're looking at those pivotal moves, this is when we see a spike of activity. And here we're getting it, guys, at about $26,000. And the Bitcoin trend on the weekly is still looking fairly robust. We're not seeing, huge moves to the downside. We're not seeing big swings. We're still trading on low volume. So, I'm still fairly positive about where this is going, guys. Market cap up here still at about $1.1 trillion. So we really haven't moved too much in terms of market activity. Market relatively flat today within the last 24 hours. We haven't really seen, like I said, we haven't really seen too much market activity. So, we got to wait for the momentum to pick up in order to see those bigger swings. Ian Binns here bringing this to our attention. Now, something I think has also gotten people a little concerned is the economic climate, not just in the United States, but all around the world. And this could, in fact, be putting a damper on people's ability to trade, on people's confidence, I guess, maybe in the market, or maybe they just don't have the money. Well, guys, get this. The U.S. may freeze bank account withdrawals as currency fears rise. Okay, so the U.S. is saying, look, we might have to freeze withdrawals on your bank account because basically the world is not in a great place. You know who else did that? Do you guys remember the Canadian truckers back in February of 2022? Canada said it would freeze bank accounts of the Freedom Convoy truckers who continue this mandate blockades. Now, the Canadian government had a reason. It's not a very good reason. As a matter of fact, a bit dictatorial. But at least they said, okay, this is the reason why we're doing this. Here in the US, they're saying we may freeze bank accounts because, we screwed up the dollar and the money supply and our rigged game is up, and therefore you are going to suffer. So an expert in economics is warning that the Biden administration may be looking at ways to lock down your checking account, so literally ban withdrawals from the banking system. The teams Biden has installed in power and the federal government already have moved to force you to buy an electric car, limit the kinds of appliances you can buy, censor the questions you can raise about fair elections, and much more. So, all things to maximize control. Now, the next step could be your bank account, according to macroeconomics guru Hugh Hendry. A report from the Daily Hodl explained Hendry was in an interview with Bloomberg Markets when asked a question about mass panic and capital flight. He said the moves away from the U.S. banking system, which recently has seen several major institutions fail, is justified. Hendry says a further decline in the M2 money supply, which in part tracks money in liquid checking accounts, could convince the U.S. government to step in and prevent citizens from taking their capital out of their banking system. So again, guys, I'm hoping at this point this is enough of a warning. Diversify, diversify, diversify. And I've said this on this channel in the past. Me personally, I keep working capital in my bank account, operational money so that I can pay my bills month to month. But essentially, buying precious metals, gold, silver, diversifying into crypto is obviously another option. And if there are other, hard, solid assets you can invest in, this is never a bad idea. We have never experienced anything like this before. Maybe our grandparents or great-grandparents have lived through something like this, like during the Great Depression. But, we're not used to this kind of financial reality. Our generation just has not been, as it doesn't have experience with this kind of thing. So, it has happened in the past. We have to remember this. About 100 years ago, this kind of thing has happened, and it could happen again in the United States. The positive side, I always want to, kind of balance things out. Michael Branch here bringing this to our attention as well. U.S. dollar supremacy remains unchanged, as 187 countries don't want their own currency. So, as we're talking about de-dollarization in the BRICS countries and all that stuff, there is a belief that many countries still do want to use the US dollar, and I'll explain how. So according to billionaire venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya, a weaker dollar actually boosts the country's economy as if it allows other nations to purchase US products at a discount. So we got to remember that. The position of the US dollar hasn't changed, he says. Again, you have to remember a lot of these foreign governments, 187 or whatever the number is outside the country of the US, rely on the US dollar. They don't want to use their own currency. Maybe in some cases their currency is really worth nothing, or they just don't have confidence in their own currency. You got to remember there are some countries around the world that already use the US dollar as a dominant currency because their currency is just not up to snuff. Dollars go get inflated, but that increased purchasing power also actually drives the balance of power back to the United States because all these folks all of a sudden find the ability to import a little bit cheaper. Their economics get slightly better, but the US dollar actually still does well. And this is why, in some cases, maybe de-dollarization isn't as bad as it could be, just because there are so many countries around the world that are not part of the BRICS nations. Now, let's not forget, the BRICS countries have a lot of power because they have a huge, robust economy together. So they are still going to play an influential role in this. But US dollar dominance, it might go down, but not get obliterated altogether. He goes on to say, so there's a complex set of interactions that are all relative. He also says that he believes the U.S. government will likely not veer away from the path in the long-term currency debasement. According to the billionaire, the best way to ride the trend of long-term dollar debasement is to invest in risk assets such as stocks and crypto. So another point of view here, wanted to thank Michael for pointing that out. And fledgling currencies, a good example of that is in Africa. This is why RippleNet technology has become so popular, guys. I happen to see this. This is from a conference from a couple of months ago, Blockchain Africa conference. Andrew Whitworth, the policy director at Ripple for the EMEA region, he was discussing this. I'm going to leave the clip in the description. I'm going to start it here at about the 1 minute, 13 second mark. Guys, listen to this.
The important thing is to reach government or authority to decide what objectives or policy objectives it has for the crypto sector in its own country. It could be, for example, improving remittance flows, which is something, as I said, that Ripple helps with, or it could be to drive financial inclusion or to enhance and grow the domestic financial sector, ultimately leading to economic growth. I mean, of course, you can have multiple objectives too. Once that's decided, then you decide how to regulate it and what the robust or comprehensive regulatory regime should look like to allow this to happen. For us in Ripple, given the nature of our business, cross-border payments, of course, the interesting aspect of crypto usage in Africa is the payments use case. We have a product called On-Demand Liquidity, ODL. I don't know if any of the audience saw my colleague Brooks speaking yesterday. We're excited about the opportunities this presents for the continent. We've got a partnership with MFS Africa, which we're using to expand our presence in the region, to scale our business alongside local partners as digital payments and crypto adoption grows. And I mean, as you all know better than I do, digital payments innovation in Africa has been evolving at a really rapid rate, which is why obviously we're interested in doing more business in the region. But this is for a number of reasons, right? This is fast population growth. This is digital payments usage already. This is mobile payments. And actually in crypto adoption by consumers, Africa's world leading. Instead of using crypto for speculation purposes, as is often used elsewhere, many people in Africa are turning to crypto to make peer-to-peer payments and as a way to preserve wealth. So this is quite an interesting set of use cases, all of which is doing what, as I said in my introduction, Ripple wants to do, which is helping to move value cross borders and cross currencies where necessary. So Africa's a great opportunity, and it has an opportunity to be a great trailblazer and to leapfrog the West as it did earlier with mobile payments.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. I think the bigger recent stats showing is about 400 million adults in Africa. And I think 45% of them are actually unbanked, which means that opportunity just to bring products of that.
All right, the clip ends there, though. If you heard those numbers, though, 400 million adults in Africa and 45% of them. So let's just, do some quick math here. 400 million, and we're going to look that up. 45% would equal about 180 million adults in Africa are unbanked or underbanked. That is a huge number. So you can see why MFS Africa has been so successful and why Ripple is the perfect partner for them. And guys, we're only going to see these corridors grow because these corridors are so exotic. A lot of these currencies are, for all intents and purposes, fairly useless. So I mean that conversion from some kind of exotic African currency to a US dollar or to a euro or to a Great British Pound or what have you, that is paramount for, for these people and for these businesses that operate in Africa. A new document here, guys, from 2023, Ripple and the U.S. Faster Payments Council, transforming the way money moves, brought to us by 801 Crypto. So a special report from the U.S. Payments Council on Ripple and the transformative opportunities of crypto-enabled payments and what leading providers expect next, specifically on Ripple. So you guys can see up here, Ripple in concert with the Faster Payments Council. I'm not going to go over this full thing, but it does go in depth on RippleNet usage, brief overview of crypto use and payments today. A lot of this we already know, but it is interesting to note this just came out 2023. As you guys can see the copyright down here, and basically outlining a lot of the different processes involved with cross-border payments. So he's just screen grabbing here the pages. I also do have the report up in a PDF, which I will also link in the description of this video for you guys if you want to look at it in more detail. Down here they say Ripple and the Faster Payments Council collaborated on a survey sent to over 950 PC subscribers representing over 70 primary businesses, lines across 45 countries. Role types range from analysts to CEOs. So we got a lot of different feedback here from many different players in the space. Just thought that was interesting. So I wanted to thank 801 XRP for posting that. Also happen to see this, guys, from XRP-Wins here on Twitter. Milo's partner with Modular, which is a Ripple partner, to offer virtual EU IBANs for crypto companies in Europe. So here we have it, more companies partnering up with Ripple partners, in this case Nilos, partnering with Ripple-enabled Modular to offer virtual EU IBANs for crypto companies in Europe. With our technology, businesses can now seamlessly move funds from crypto to fiat in just 7 seconds, of course, running on the XRPL. These are the results it garners with their name as the originator of the payment. This innovative solution eliminates the pain points associated with the slow, compliance-heavy processes that empowers businesses to thrive in the evolving landscape of payments. Nilos has launched its new virtual EU IBANs aimed at companies dealing with crypto in Europe. The solution allows businesses to have a dedicated crypto-friendly payment account, enabling them to create Euro and GBP virtual accounts, make payments across Europe and the UK, and use SEPA and faster payment rails. And they're saying down here, the move is made possible by this new partnership with payment and card issuing by Modular, guys. Again, a Ripple partner, allows Nilos platform dedicated to business operating with cryptocurrencies to address the needs of crypto companies struggling to find viable payment alternatives. So, of course, the XRPL, we know it was originally created for payments and has since branched out, but these companies are really looking for solutions, and, a lot of the smaller companies too, the ones that may have, maybe missed the boat a little bit, trying to catch up with modernization. Of course, the ISO 20022 standard is underway, and I'm sure, a lot of these smaller companies now are going to be partnering up with whether it's Ripple-enabled companies or other blockchain companies so that they can, fill that gap, be regulatory compliant on the ISO 20022 standard. And here we have it, guys, just another company, in this case, Nilos, doing that, partnering with Ripple partner Modular. So I wanted to thank XRP Wins just for bringing that up. Also happen to see this, guys, Matthew LANY bringing up this great tweet. Ripple and GBC Korea are collaborating to shape a blockchain ecosystem in Korea. So check this out. Blockchain ecosystem, including XRP, Bitcoin, USD Coin, Filecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Tether, UCX, and Solana. So these are the coins, the 10 coins that they're going to be working with. And so they categorize them, right? Payment tokens, virtual currencies, security tokens, utility coins. or tokens for consumers. And guys, Ripple is even a partner here. So interesting to say the least in Korea. GBC Korea is a blockchain company that developed GMAP, the world's first ever mergers and acquisitions platform that allows everyone, including small cap retail investors, to participate in M&A and other large scale investments through the utilization of its proprietary cryptocurrency UCX. By providing equitable opportunities, GBC Korea is endeavoring to help usher in the era of global distributed economy. Also up here, they outline Ripple, about Ripple specifically in this report. And you guys can see here just a bit of a flow chart just to kind of demonstrate how this is all going to go down. So Ripple specifically outlined here, but the XRP cryptocurrency, obviously not the only one that's going to be utilized in this system, but it does look like they are going to be working on RippleNet. They even mentioned RippleNet specifically in this report. So very interesting to note. A private and confidential report here done by GBC Korea, Ripple, and Oxford Metrica specifically. So looks like we're going to see a lot of new developments coming down the pipe in South Korea specifically. So wanted to thank Matt for posting that. So what do you guys think? End of June? I mean, I know we're kind of all tired about trying to predict when Judge Torres is going to deliver the verdict. Anders here on Twitter posting this, though, an interesting thought. In accordance with the SEC versus Ripple case resolution, wouldn't it be perfect timing with NASDAQ custodying crypto for a timely XRP listing? Now, this was posted originally back in March of 2023. They were saying by the end of June, so end of quarter 2, 2023, is when we were going to see crypto custody on the NASDAQ. I do have just an article up here outlining that. I will link that up here if you guys are interested. But what I really wanted to focus on was this. Bill Morgan's explanation of what Stuart Alderoty recently tweeted out, okay? In 1946, here's the Stuart Alderoty tweet. In 1946, in its Subsea T. Howey brief, the SEC unsuccessfully argued that an investment contract in a common enterprise was unnecessary provided there was a community of interest. The SEC was wrong then, and it is still wrong now. Common interest does not equal common enterprise. And so this is now a point that I think Ripple's lawyers are really trying to hit home with regards to this case. While some of the cases do stress elements in the particular situations making the enterprise a common one, there is no suggestion in the statutory language that an investment contract is limited to an investment in a single enterprise. The requirement of a public offering, Section 1-4, does of course necessitate sufficient community of interest to make the individual units offered substantially similar investments. Now here's what Bill has to say, guys, to put this and Stuart's tweet in context. The starting point is to recognize that the SEC is trying to massively stretch the Howey test to cover crypto on the grounds the test was intended by the court to be flexible. The SEC does this in relation to crypto by an expansive view of common enterprise that allows it to avoid the words enterprise and the need to link it to specific transactions and focusing instead on the adjective common. This is why you never really can trust or easily understand the question, what does the SEC actually say is a common enterprise that Ripple and XRP holders over the whole globe for 8 years are involved in? The Ripple attorneys have realized that the SEC focuses on the word common and are trying to broaden the Howey test by arguing a point they failed on in the Howey case itself. So Bill Morgan uncovering here something that maybe the SEC lawyers were trying to do that Ripple's lawyers are really kind of now focusing, honing in on, and trying to prevent. They want to argue that all that is needed is a common interest. How do they do that? The SEC in its summary judgment motion points to evidence in which it says Ripple touted the alignment of its interests with those who hold XRP. And you guys can see that there. XRP and our interests are very much aligned. In other words, Ripple as an XRP owner has similar interests with other XRP hodlers. They said, we've been strong stewards of XRP, right? Meaning XRP hodlers. If that does not suffice, then it turns somewhat desperately, in my opinion, to the fungible argument. So basically being able to replace something with a copy. So all units of XRP are fungible and rise and fall together. I'm not making it up. The SEC alleges this is part of the common enterprise, and they've mentioned it down here. All units of XRP are fungible with each other, and the price of all units of XRP rise or fall equally. The fact that you could say the same about an ounce of gold, though, is no problem for the SEC. So how does that make sense, right? Gold is clearly not a security. However, this is just common interest. Ripple's attorneys obviously worked out the SEC was trying to pull a swifty and surreptitiously argue an old point the Supreme Court had rejected in Howey. So Ripple's lawyers in Ripple's summary judgment motion attacked the fungible common interest point and actually used the example of gold to make their point. And that is established in this reply here, guys, from September of 22. The SEC, if Judge Torres lets them get away with reducing common enterprise to common interest, and guys, I think Bill Morgan really hits it on the head here. This is how it's going to affect the rest of the crypto industry. We'll apply the fungible argument to other cryptos. You can see this in paragraph 185 of the complaint against Bittrex in respect to Algorand. This is also for commodities. So check this out. The price of all algo tokens goes up or decreases together. The same argument that they were trying to make up here with Ripple and XRP. They're fungible with each other, and the price of all units rise or fall equally. So this is a sticking point that I think Ripple's lawyers really do need to hone in on. Make sure we get clarity for the entire industry. Given Ripple is onto this sleight of hand by the SEC and dealt with in the SJ material, it is interesting to consider why Stuart Alderati publicly raised it by a tweet today. So I wanted to thank Tensla Gizla here also for tagging me in this, but also Bill Morgan, of course, and Stuart Alderati. Guys, I mean, so much is on the line here. U.S. clarity is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that we need here. And I think Bill does hit the nail on the head. Going after that argument means that they could and probably will go after other tokens like Algorand. So we have got to be prepared. Of course, Ripple's lawyers. Of course, Ripple's got great lawyers, only the best, for one of the biggest crypto companies and one of the most influential crypto companies that are likely going to change this space in the coming months. The verdict is coming very, very soon. And guys, an XRP pump definitely in the cards once we get some kind of verdict. I mean, it'll be a FOMO pump, but I don't care. That's just my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.